Alabama in hot pursuit of their next big-time commitment, and it could be five-star wide receiver Derek Meadows. He's struggling with his decision. We're going to talk about why Bama would be the best fit for him as they build this elite class. SEC Media Days, day one in the books. We're going to get into our thoughts on Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, and everything else that happened in Dallas. And then Ben Hess, congratulations. One of three Alabama players taken in the MLB draft, but he's in the first round. Kind of a surprise, taken by the New York Yankees. We're going to get into that and more right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out. Well, this show's brought to you by Pearl River Resort. And let's get this party started. Got Big Elmo right after this. Oh, everybody's home from Vegas now. There he is. Big sexy Elmo. What's up, brother?
Well, you left like a day before I did, and it was because that I was on a mission. I was on a scoop. I was trying to go to Bishop Gorman High School in Vegas to get the word from Derek Meadows. Yeah. That's the real reason why I went. And guess what? I got to the school and it was closed.
No, it's closed. Closed for summer, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot out there in Vegas. I'll tell you that. You called and you talked to me and you were like, yeah, I think it says it's 115. And I was like, no, this isn't the kind of heat that you need to worry about. It's different than Southern heat. I lied.
Mick Gillespie is a liar. I found that out as soon as I stepped foot out of the airport in Las Vegas. I will not say what I said underneath my breath, but it was not pretty. I was like, good grief, it's hot. And then the cab driver, he didn't have air that worked half the time. Oh God. But anyway, I'm glad to be back home in Alabama.
Well, let's talk about Derek Meadows. He knows all about the heat out in Vegas, the 6'6", 205-pound wide receiver who everyone thinks is going to end up at Notre Dame. At least that's where all of the predictions have him going. But Bama's in there. We know he loved the Alabama visit because Caleb Cunningham told us that on the channel. Bama listed as, according to On3 and their prediction machine, and they have the best in the business behind everything. They got Alabama as a 3.9% chance to get this guy. But wow. I really feel like Bama's in this, man. I guess just from what Caleb told us and the fact that you got Kalen DeBoer as the head coach and he's a wide receiver, and you know that this Alabama offense is going to click.
Yeah, he's, big crystal ball to go to Notre Dame, but even the Notre Dame folks, they don't feel good about him coming there because that was kind of before the Alabama visits and Georgia and programs like this. Look, he was supposed to commit on the 13th, and he delayed it to another week to this Saturday. He's struggling with his decision, and his finalist remains the same. Alabama's in that mix with Georgia, LSU, Michigan, and Notre Dame. Alabama and LSU, from what I've been reading, seem to feel pretty confident about this. Georgia and Michigan, they're kind of, and Notre Dame, they're still kind of figuring out what the guy's going to do. So I don't know what he's going to do.
I don't think he really knows. Yeah, and I don't really think he knows yet, Brad. I mean, this is a tough decision, and that's you mentioned him. Like he's punting on his announcement because he's not 100% sure yet. If Alabama nailed down Derek Meadows, I mean, think about how good the receiver class would be for this group. And, talking about just kind of the guys that are still out there, Khalil Lockett's the other guy. If you could get one of those two guys you're feeling pretty good about life with Cunningham and Brooks and the fact that you got some guys that have been there, and also what DeBoer is going to do moving forward.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision for the young man, and it's something that he's delayed for another week. So something's cooking, and everybody's chomping at the bits to see which direction he's going to go. And Saturday is going to be an interesting day.
Yeah, I'm excited. You're excited, and so are Alabama fans. I just love the fact that nothing's changed. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're still right there in the mix for the elite of the elite. You look at the offensive line, the class that they're bringing in, adding, and I've talked about this, and Jake Coker on Roll Tide Pods with me was like, look, the offensive line is the most important group in the entire football team, right?
Right, yeah.
Go out and you bring a class in like Alabama's bringing in with Haywood and Carroll and Dubose and Waltrip and those guys. I mean, that's a big class right there of some dudes that are coming in to really take over. And then, now you're getting some guys that are going to have opportunities to catch the ball.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'll tell you that it's really exciting to see what the staff has done, and they're stacking it up, man. They're stacking it up like those poker chips. And we got a big stack over there, and you look over across the way in Auburn, their stack's just big.
I saw it. Big. You should have seen this guy at the roulette table. It was really funny watching you just double down on red. You were feeling the red, and then you told me that you can. You did tell me that if you watch long enough, you can start predicting what the wheel's going to do.
The final night I was out there, I did pretty good. I was there for several hours, sweating. I literally, but it was a great time. Yeah.
You get locked in on the ball and the wheel.
Yeah, man, got locked in, and man, I tell you, if that 16 would have just hit, if that 16 would have just hit.
All right, let's change gears, brother. Let's talk about SEC media days. Day one, so a lot of days there, and a lot of Nick Saban talk. I mean, and I guess first off, he works for ESPN now, and he's doing that. He also works for Alabama, so his income level is really not going to dip too much when it comes to him not coaching football anymore. But the impact that he's had on college football and that he'll continue to have on college football was something that was kind of echoed through that first day.
Now, something tells me that Nick Saban doesn't order off the value menu at Taco Bell.
Does Big Elmo?
Yes, Big Elmo does. Big Elmo does.
What's your thing? Like his tacos, like
Big Elmo. He does not have Nick Saban money. Okay. But no, it was a great day at media day number one. And I guess the funniest story out of it all is Coach Sabin transitioning to that role as a media member. And he forgot his credential in his hotel room and got turned away.
That's awesome.
He got turned away by the security because he had to have his credentials. So he had to go all the way back up to his room and get it.
Good. We deal with that life now, Coach.
Yeah. How do you like it now, pal?
What do you think about not having your credential? Last year I went and I didn't have a credential, but the gang at at Next Round gave me one. Not on. Three. It's all the On Three gang. But I got my credential from the Next Round. They hooked me up. Well, really, Lance did. I was Lance Taylor for a little while.
Yeah, for a little while.
LT.
That was a funny story that happened. And of course, his preparation going into this, Nick Saban is a guy who takes everything seriously in what he does.
Yeah.
And he's not shying away from that as being in his new job.
Right.
They were talking about back in last month. He was is a stranger coming in your house or
No, Jake Coker thinks he left something in here.
oh
just keep going while I'm answering.
okay. I thought is Mick about to get abducted here live on there?
I could do this to you.
Oh, he's gone. What am I gonna do? But no, he is taking everything very seriously. And they were talking about how in June he spent an hour with every head football coach via phone talking about their team and watching spring games, breaking things down. So he's taking this stuff very serious because he wants to know what he's talking about, and it gives him I guess a really good feeling of being that old coach, breaking down film, and this is right up his alley. So he's put a lot of thought into it, even down to they said he was taking notes when Greg Sankey was speaking, bullet points. The most interesting thing, though, out of media day, was his prediction on who's going to play in the SEC title game, and his sort of I don't want to say dark horse, but the team to watch, which I found very interesting. He picked Texas and Georgia to play for the title, and he said Ole Miss will be a team to watch very closely. And then finally, and I'll get your thoughts on all this. Finally, he talked about what we talked about the other day about Texas ruling the SEC. He said they're not going to rule the SEC.
Yeah, I agree with him. I mean, I don't think they will either. I mean,
no,
but I'm surprised. I guess you got to, as a media member, it's like, well, it's going to be Texas and it's going to be Georgia. The problem Texas has is that they're not playing. They don't get all the easy games anymore.
No, they don't.
It's going to be Alabama, and it's going to be, I'm sorry, Coach Sabin, it's going to be Alabama, it's going to be Georgia. And I know that there's probably a part of him that doesn't see what it's going to be like without him there. And I know they lost a lot of the guys in the secondary. Bama's not going anywhere.
No, they're not. And
a shot at Alabama, but we're giving Texas too much credit.
Well, yeah, I think they're going to have a really good football team, but the team maybe to watch will be Alabama under DeBoer. I mean, look, we played Georgia early in the season. That's going to kind of gauge where we are. I mean, it really is. You come away with a win there, and you put the SEC on notice.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I think that's it. I honestly, and I count these guys out. Just count them out because
yeah. And
that Bama's not going anywhere.
Well, and two, I don't like. I'm glad that we don't have the bullseye on our back. We're so used to, and DeBoer can use this as some motivation as we're being disrespected.
Well, we are. I mean, really.
yeah, we are. So that's a motivating factor, and we'll be fine.
Yeah,
we'll be fine.
All right, a couple baseball news worthy things. First off, congratulations to Ben Hess, 26 overall to the Yankees. I know some of the people that do scouting for the Yankees, including one of my buddies, Sam Hughes, and I hope Ben Hess goes to New York and is an ace on the staff. This is a really good thing for Alabama baseball. Hess is junior, was a guy who appeared in 33 games. He had 30 starts in 3 seasons at Alabama. He was 12-6 and had a 4.81 ERA. But what they really like about him is his strikeout rate. He holds the record for strikeouts per 9 innings at Alabama. They probably like the fact that he hasn't gotten hurt, that he's been pretty consistent. and ended up with 70 strikeouts in conference play, which is third among SEC arms, right? So it was one of those deals where I don't think a lot of people were thinking that Alabama was going to have a first round pick, but they thought that Hess was probably going to be somewhere in that first day. He's the fifth first rounder in Alabama history, which is crazy to think about. And I remember some of these guys calling baseball at Alabama. Taylor Tankersley called games that he did. Jeremy Brown called games that he did. Tommy Hunter, I think I did him too. But fifth first rounder ever. He becomes the highest drafted tied pitcher in baseball history. How about that? So Alabama had never had a pitcher that was drafted higher than him, which is pretty cool. And he's the 12th selected by the Yankees out of Alabama. Now, but the funny thing about the Yankees is that Bear Bryant got to know George Steinbrenner through Mel Allen. So maybe some of you guys don't know, Mel Allen was the voice of the Yankees, but he was first the voice of Alabama.
Yeah.
And gave Bear Bryant his first houndstooth hat, which is pretty cool. So there's always been this connection. There's a ton of Bama fans that are Yankees fans. I'm sure a bunch of you guys watching know that. So anyway, congratulations to Hess. And there were a couple other guys who got drafted from Alabama as well, Brett.
Yeah, so congratulations to them, and look forward to seeing them in the big time.
Yeah, hopefully it is a long ride to the top when you want to rock and roll, right?
That's right, pal.
Gage Miller and what's the other guy's name? Greg Farone. I think
I had an email on it, and apparently it got lost in translation somewhere. But anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, those guys are going. I'm going to tell you, I didn't watch a ton of baseball. I was not impressed with the games I saw in the postseason. And I'm hoping that, having a first round pick will help this coaching staff with Rob Vaughn go out there and make Alabama a legitimate contender, not just to be good in the SEC, but to win a national championship. And that would be really cool. All right, Brett, that was fun. Talking football with you always is. And I want to remind everyone that the show is presented by our friends at Pearl River Resort. Brett and I were just there. We had a blast. Then we were in Vegas. We had a blast there. That's the thing I will tell you guys, and Brett, you can back me up on this, is that it's a lot more affordable to hang out and have the same fun at Pearl River Resort. Like you go to Las Vegas, and then we ended up staying in Harrah's the whole time pretty much,
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. You got Silver Star and Golden Moon. It's an hour and a half drive from Tuscaloosa, two and change from Birmingham, not far for Brett either in Jasper, not even far from me down here in Fairhope and wherever you might be hanging out. But they got table games and slots. It's the exact same setup as what you got out in Vegas, except the beers aren't $20 a piece. Yes. And that was not fun. Great restaurants there. Awesome acts, entertaining, including Rodney Carrington, who's part of that. Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, which is the Augusta you can play in right now. Go to the golf course. If you go to the sports book first, which is the same that we saw in Vegas, and you even said to me, you were like, you know what, man? The Timeout Sports Lounge is as good as anything here. You know?
Exactly.
It's not better than some of the places we saw. And
they didn't have all of their TVs go out like in Vegas.
Yeah.
I was watching the games, and all of a sudden, all the screens went black, and you saw a DirecTV logo bouncing. I was like, I've been there before. I've been there before.
Yeah, we've all been there before.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's awesome time, man. $40 to play Dancing Rabbit when you spend $50 in the sports book, and you can even win. So you can turn that $50 into $100 and then a cheap day on the golf course on one of the really nice golf courses. And don't forget about Geyser Falls, which is the water park. But they got it all over there, and we appreciate them for being part of what we do here. All right, after this quick little timeout, this guy right here takes over the show. I get out of the way, and he takes over. Him. This guy.
River Resort. They call him Big Sexy. Coming at you from the Walker County. Jasper is his hometown. He's known for giving free rundowns. Oh, Big Sexy. Throwing out those Alabama thoughts. Sneaking out your mom's window without getting caught. Nick gives you the XP, but Big Elmo is here to please. Big Sexy Elmo on the Bama Tailgate Show.
It's July 16th, everybody. Welcome in. Not a lot of celebrity birthdays, but we do have a couple that you will probably know. Will Ferrell is 57 today.
I love Will, man. You know, the greatest broadcast moment of my very bad broadcasting career is in baseball was I was broadcasting the Cubs and the Angels when Will Ferrell, this is a highlight of my baseball life. He came in and played for the Cubs and for the Angels in the same game for a TV show he was doing. So the game, I got the call, the game, and I was doing the play-by-play. It happened to be on my innings, which was pretty cool because I worked with Len Casper, who's the voice of the Cubs, and I was, his sidekick, like Batman and Robin. But the way that the innings fell, I'm there, and Will Ferrell came running in, and then he was like a pinch hitter, and it was a coach, and he had these big signs, and then he played for the Angels. He replaced Anthony Rizzo and Mike Trout in the same game.
That's
Love
great. Yeah, I remember seeing footage of that. Just a funny guy.
Old school.
I love everything he's done.
Great movies, old school. And I loved him in Eastbound and Down, which is another one of my favorite shows. So, yeah.
Ed Kowalski, Qualisak, I believe is how you pronounce that. He's the lead singer of Live, and he's 53 today.
All right. Happy birthday.
Survivor contestant, and you probably know this person, Mick, and sex tape star Jenna Lewis is 47.
No. Sex.
You don't know her?
Let me look her up. I don't think I do.
Corey Feldman is 53.
I'm going to have to maybe watch some of her work.
Right. Yeah. I was about to say, just look her up and you see what we can talk about it later.
Oh, there she is. She is pretty attractive. Now, I've never seen her in my life.
Okay. All right. Liar. Anyway, like and
Wait,
Stuart Copeland.
Well, hold on. Go back to the next one because you said somebody I liked. I could tell.
Oh, yeah. Corey Feldman.
Oh, Corey Feldman. Yeah, the Coreys, one of the great actors of all time. I know him. Great actor. Funny.
Was in the Stand By Me. He was in the Goonies.
Goonies is one of the best movies of all times, man.
The Lost Boys, which is a great movie.
Another great movie. Yeah, like he had that run in the 80s where, he was hot stuff.
And finally, Stuart Copeland, the drummer from The Police, 72 today.
Okay, I didn't know him, but I do know The Police, and I love The Police, man. What's that Necessity, that one album that they had that was like Every Breath You Take, which is like the absolute best stalker song of all times. Like, we're breaking up, but I'm going to be watching you.
Yeah.
Forever.
If you're looking for something
too close to me, you know that one? Don't stand too close to me.
That was the theme for the COVID era.
That was also, it was like a song about like a teacher dating a student. I don't think they meant like high school. I think it was like college, but
yeah.
They would have never known what life would be like now when they wrote that.
Yeah. If you're looking for something to celebrate today is Guinea Pig Appreciation Day.
Man, I had a buddy with the guinea pig back in elementary school, and he named it was like, Mr. Ed or Mr. Peepers or something like that. And it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
But I had another buddy that I worked with in broadcasting, Spence, and he had a guinea pig. And I mean, the thing, he would bring it to work and stuff. Like it had like all these like things that would run around in it, and it lived for a long time. I know it died, and it was like pretty, he had it for a long time. I didn't know those things lived that long.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Yeah, he brought it to work, to the broadcast booth.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's strange.
Yeah.
That's strange, but maybe it was an emotional support guinea. I don't know.
I don't know. Like,
Some people they well,
he's
never
a
mind.
funny guy. I mean, he's definitely like a
Yeah.
dude that but cool. Dad's cool. He's doing big things in broadcasting in Spain right now. Probably
Huge day.
soccer. Huge soccer guy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
This day in history, a big day, 1969, the crew of Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins blasted off from Cape Kennedy on the first manned mission to the surface of the moon.
Have they been back to the moon? Because there's a lot of people that feel like that was fake, and I've always just assumed that it was real. I'm not falling for that, but then again, it's like, all right, 1969. Are we really like able to go to the moon and back? Like, is that possible? I mean, I'm watching the space shuttles blow up with, in 2003, and what was the other one? Like the Challenger and
That was back in the 80s.
Columbia or something.
It was back in the 80s.
Terrible tragedies like that really,
Yeah,
that you never forget. They wheeled us in to watch the one, and it was like there was a teacher on board, and we'd learned about spaceships and everything, and then terrible.
yeah.
You got a theory on that? Did they really walk on the moon or what?
Yeah, I believe they did.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe it or not, here in Walker County, there are not there's a lot of intelligent people, but then again, there's also not a lot of intelligent people. But I guess that's the way everywhere. But my dad always told this story about how he was a kid, and they were everybody was sitting out on their porch the night that they lifted off to the moon, and the neighbor, she walks over in the yard and she looks up at the moon. Everybody's looking up, just thinking about what's going on. And it was one of those crescent moons. And she looked up and she said, should have known them dumbasses in Washington would shoot that rocket up there when that thing ain't even full. They're liable to miss that thing up there. And my dad said everybody just kind of looked at her and was like, yeah, okay. And she just walked back and just went back, to her porch,
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I hate to tell you this, but that moon's always there, even though it's a crescent tonight.
Yeah.
It's still always there in full fashion.
Yeah, right.
I'll never forget that story that he told. It was hilarious.
Pretty funny.
The Dark Knight premiered this day, 2012. Great Batman flick. And also debuting this day in 1999, Stanley Kubrick's final directorial effort, Eyes Wide Shut, starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, opened nationwide.
Okay.
1999, 38-year-old John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife, Carolyn, and sister-in-law, Lauren, killed in a single-plane accident that Kennedy was piloting right off of Martha's Vineyard. I remember that well.
Yeah.
And 1979, Saddam Hussein became president of Iraq.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't end well for him.
No, it did not. But anyway, that's a look at this day in history.
All right, guys.